Yo, I feel like we got to start the show with that. I feel like every show we go, yo, start it out, What's up, people?
Yo, what's up, y'all? Thank y'all for tuning in. Already, I see folk piling in, and we appreciate it so much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing, Coach? How you doing,
So
man?
far, I'm good. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, my apologies. This is Coach Fa.
And I'm Danny B, as you all know. Coach, let me see that shirt, man. What kind of shirt you wearing?
Bang, bang. You know what it is. We here.
Word. I love it, man. Let's
You know
go.
what I
Big
mean?
15.
Yes, I am very big on the Big 15 in whatever iteration Leon and them come up with next.
Hell yeah, man. Gotta be, man. That's the culture, man. Big 15. All in.
Exactly. Hey, Danny, guess what?
What up? What up?
We got an all-star in the building today, y'all.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir, we do.
We are stoked to have him because, quite honestly, we should have had him a long time ago. And
yeah, overdue.
Yeah. So hit with the intro, and I will bring him in.
Let's do it. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Kris Pursiainen of Knicks Film School fame.
Bang.
In the building. I can never hit the button fast.
And you just hit the button too fast because now you're knocking them out. Let me hit the button.
You're better on the boards. Kris, welcome, man.
Y'all are too kind.
What's up, my brother?
That was not kind enough. How y'all been
doing? It's a beautiful Saturday out. Got some nice sunlight. I was in New York City yesterday. I think I'm gonna head back over today to Manhattan. Just enjoying life, man. Summertime. Hope y'all been doing well. Knicks off season, draft coming up. Big week.
That's right. Let's go.
Hey, I got my Frankie Smoke shirt on.
Love it, bro. I saw that.
Bang. Listen, man, I still love the kid. Let's just keep that real. Whether he's a Knick or not, I will always dig the kid.
Hey, he's a good kid, man. And he works hard. It's just
and never complained about any of the vitriol that the fan base threw at him. He just takes it all in stride and keeps playing this game.
Definitely. Well, I think part of that's because he has to translate it to French. But no, he's got pretty good. His English.
Frank's English. I was gonna say, he's getting there.
Definitely, man. No knock on him at all.
All right. So, Kris, man, what's been up, brother?
Man, the off season's crazy. I got my big board out finally. If y'all saw on my draft prospect rankings, that took months. So nice to finally have that out. I might have a 2.0 on the way because I've had some things bugging me. Like I might throw Book Knight over Trey Man, make a couple little changes, but like nothing massive. Like I had Man 10, Book 11. I might, a little flip flop, but nothing too crazy. And then just trying to see what's up with all these free agency and trade rumors, man. Always about the Knicks, and we've got some names that have come out recently that people are talking about. I said a couple days back that Duarte, seemed to be someone that we liked. We get a report that New York's bringing in him just for a solo workout. So, another indicator that they want another look at the kid. Trey Murphy, another name people have been saying a lot. I bet Walt Perrin is a fan of. And the Sharif Cooper is a name people have been talking about a lot. One of my favorite players in the draft to watch. I think it really depends on his landing spot, on how good he ends up being. He might be the type of kid that, like, man, if he goes to some organization where they don't got anyone that can put the ball in the bucket and he's got to do the playmaking and the scoring, like, he's screwed. That kid is screwed. But if he could go to a team like New York, comes in like 15, 20 minutes a game, gets some play, making going, and gets to sit on the bench, for the rest in his rookie year. I think that kid's got some serious upside if he's allowed to be brought along in the league. And we got Johnny Bryant, Tom Tibbs for defense. Like, I trust our coaching staff a lot with any prospect we draft. So a lot of names been popping up, and I've just been thinking about, how I feel about these guys on the team. And as I think about it more and more, the almost the less I care, if that makes sense, because I just see how many great options we have in this draft. and I see how many directions we could go in that I would like. Like not just how many directions we could go in, how many directions we could go in that I would be like, yes, good idea, Leon Rose.
So break that down. What are the good idea Leon Rose ideas for
Hell
Kris?
Yeah, man.
So, man, we know Tibbs wants rookies that can contribute, right? So, Chris Duarte has been a name that's come up a lot. I want to ask y'all a question. I'll flip it on you guys. I'll flip it on you, Coach Fa and Danny. If y'all could sign Dominican Kevin Huerter this offseason with a little less defensive experience, a little less just a little less swag on offense because he's just going to be a rookie, but like if y'all could sign New Yorker Dominican Kevin Huerter this offseason, what would y'all give him per year? People talking about giving Reggie 10 a year, maybe Burks 12 a year. Like if Kevin Huerter is a free agent, what would y'all sign him for?
I mean, I'm
trying to see just how much you value that type of contributor.
I mean, coming in as a rookie, say maybe 4. You know what I mean?
I mean,
somewhere around there, give or take. Yeah.
Right. But Huerter, given his experience, like if he were under contract in Atlanta, he'd probably go for 12, 14 a year.
Sure. Yep.
Right? And that 4 a year number was perfect because if say we draft someone like Chris Duarte at the 19th pick or a little above, that's on the rookie scale about what he'd be getting paid. Is that exact $4 million evaluation?
Right.
To come in.
I didn't want to steal the thunder.
and be a more dynamic shot creator than Reggie Bullock was in the playoffs.
Yep.
Probably be about as good on defense, about the same height, and about as skilled on that end. And then that guy's gonna go right in your rotation. He could play right off the bench. D Rose, IQ, and Duarte works. Or if you want to even, man, Tibbs might have a aneurysm, but if you want to start him across the wing from RJ, put a rookie on the starting lineup, I
feel like he can fit into there. He can fit in.
One of the few rookies in this class, maybe the only rookie that we could end up getting, because a Suggs or a Cunningham would start, from day one.
Right.
Someone like Duarte might be the only rookie in our range who would come in and be able to really, really play a lot of minutes because he just does on defense what Tibbs baseline requires from players of that position. He'd be acquirable for about that $4 million a year mark.
Right.
If we took him at that slot. Now, we say we had to trade up to get him 19 and 21, maybe the Dallas 23 pick. So 19, 21 and the Dallas 23 pick gets us up. Or no, 19, 21, and we sign and trade Bullock to Indiana. They said they wanted Eric Gordon to get up to 14 or 13 it is with Indiana. Take Duarte there. You got 32. We got all those future seconds that Brock Oller's been stacking up on. Now, for off-court reasons, I'm not a big Kevin Porter Jr. guy, but he's very talented on the court, and that's a rookie who was acquired in the first round by a team taking about 4 or 5 second-round picks and using them to trade back into the first round. We go ahead and make a move like that for Miles McBride.
I hear you, but the only thing about that is he's not even on the team that drafted him now. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm saying
he's not. So they made that move, but it was a risky move.
McBride doesn't have those off-court factors, is what I'm saying. It's just a philosophy and how you go about acquiring the player. You go take all those second-round picks you've been stacking up, 3 or 4 of them, and add them to 32. Just try to get yourself up to 26, 25, 24, 27. Mm-hmm. One of those spots, someone like Bones Highland, someone like Deuce McBride will fall. And you will get another steal of the draft. And, you'll have Quickly, you'll have Deuce or Bones or whatever. And then you'll start realizing that this steal of the draft stuff is very manufactured. Teams see a guy, they see the value, and they get – so if we made some moves like that, I'd be very happy. I'd be very happy if we were able to get 2 players that I think could play in the rotation and consolidate some of our picks while at it. Because we have a lot of second round picks which don't have a whole lot of value just on their own. But if you could take a bunch of them, turn them into a guy who's going to be a rookie and will come in, you have 5 years of team control, and he'll fit under a Thibodeau rotation from day one. I'm in. So Duarte and McBride would be an incredible outcome for me. Let's switch it up. Go same positions, totally different players. Same situation. Trade up. Get Trey Murphy, or say we stay at 19 and 21, and Trey Murphy is there at 19 somehow. Grab him. He could be like our Cam Johnson from the Suns.
Yep.
If whether he plays at the 3 or the 4, he can knock down corner shots from the start. And I probably wouldn't start him, but man, Murphy will be good, and he's got some room to grow as well. And then make a little trade, get your way back up from 32 with 21, maybe 21 and 32 to move. However you do it, come away from the draft with Murphy and Cooper. And let Murphy play a wing role, get some minutes. Let Cooper very slowly, take your time, let him come along, let him develop, have Rose in the building, have another point guard in the building. So Cooper's got to play like 10 minutes a game and do them well, like Obi this last season. Right. And let that be it. And let him come along, let him grow defensively. And muscle-wise, like, get him in the weight room, and that'll help him grow defensively at the point of attack over the course of the year. Those are just two examples, McBride and Cooper being two guards, Duarte and Murphy being two wings that I like for this team very much, that I think are in our range, that in a different draft might be seen universally as a lottery talent, but, just isn't in this draft. I'm looking at my big board here, and it's like
I'm looking at that too.
I've got a guy at 10 who I would take at like 6, 5, 4, 3 in a different class. I've got a guy at 15 who could go top 10 in another class, so it's, and then
Kris Duarte, you got at 28, also.
Yep. Duarte, I have at the back end of my first round, and the reason for that is the upside. The upside with Duarte is a little limited. So, he's already 24, would be coming in. Now, that's the positive part that people are underrating, is that people like to complain about a rookie, taking time. Duarte, he will not take time. Like, his skills are a given.
Especially at that age.
He will come in and be good at what he's good at. That's a given. However, it's the room for improvement that's limited. And I think this class specifically offers a lot of prospects with just much higher upside.
I'll tell you what, I feel like a lot of Knicks fans, not to cut you off, but I just want to add to it. I feel like a lot of Knicks fans too had that same mentality surrounding Obi last year, right? I mean, you're drafting a guy who's a little bit older, who has all these accolades, and so in theory should be, NBA ready, should be, be able to be thrown into the limelight and thrive. And, obviously with the situation and the team and the way that we developed through the season, it didn't happen right off the bat, but, it took time for him to finally figure out his fit and where he fits in and where he, could plug in best. And I think we did see it. But so kind of zooming back out to what we were just talking about, I feel like he's another one of those players that, the Knicks team might have a little bit, not Knicks team, Knicks fans might have that same idea, and say, because I feel like we do this a lot. We look back into our past and use it, at present moments, So is this guy, he's a little bit older. Is he ready? We did that last year. Should we waste our pick on somebody, of that same type of caliber, same expectations, or should we go a whole nother route? I just feel like it's one of those things that pops back up that you see a lot through, Knicks fandom.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree 1000%, Danny. Now, as y'all can see, I popped up the big board so we could all view this wonderful piece of work by this wonderful person here. And so as the fans are listening to him break it down, they got a little something to go with. So, and thank y'all for all the folks in the comment section and everybody tuning in. We really appreciate it. So without further ado, get back to it, man. You killing it. I love it.
We got the board here. Well, what I was saying was that like just the different like I was saying earlier, there are different directions we can go in. The value this class offers, you can, if you get into that next slide, you'll see, pick 19 where the Knicks are. Like JT Thor will likely be available where we pick.
I feel like there's so many ups and downs that are going to come.
Guys like Highland, guys like Williams, good wing bet, good guard bet, and Highland is up there with Kispert for me and like the best shooters of the class.
Okay.
Highland is 6'3", point guard, got a 6'9" wingspan. Lots of really attractive features there. Between the 30-foot pull up, the plus 6-inch wingspan. That could you imagine our defense with a guy instead of Alfred at the point of attack who can really like get into their opponents, create some disarray, can really, catch balls out of the passing lanes that he just shouldn't be able to get. That would be something a little different and in a positive way. That's something I feel like Tom Thibodeau, his system, it's very strict, right, y'all? And we watched it for 82 games, 87 total games. We saw the Thibodeau system. And people, I feel like sometimes when talking about personnel are kind of locked into like, we need to find a better version of this player to make the system work. Like, oh, we need Bullock, but a better version because that's how the Tibbs system isn't about the specific players. His system is about bringing the most that he can out of every player that he's got.
And how does it fit into the overall picture? And he's good at that.
You hand him Bradley Beal, and everyone's like, "Oh, but Beal can't play defense." Tibbs wouldn't want him. I'm sure the guy whose
Tibbs loves good players. Period.
Whose face was beat red because we couldn't score a point for 7 minutes. Is going to turn down the league's leading scorer wearing his jersey. Like, are you kidding me, man? It's about what players can bring to the table, how what they bring to the table fits his system. So if you're a point guard that can defend the point of attack, you've got some toughness, you can hold your own up there, you can drive, you can get both feet into the paint on offense. You've got some tempo to you. You play with a little fire under your butt. Deuce McBride is a name that comes to mind here as a combo guard. That's someone I think Tibbs would love, a hard worker who just a good player. Tibbs always says I'm partial to good players when he talks about why he likes Derrick Rose so much. I think there's a lot of guys in this draft that are going to end up being good players, but I'm looking too at, who can be a good player from the jump. And Murphy won't reach his potential from year one, but what he can do year one, that could fit into a Tibbs system. Duarte probably will reach close to his potential year two. But what he will do year one will fit in a Tibbs system. Man, even a guy like Cameron Thomas. So I'm looking here at number 25 on my big board where we took Emmanuel Quickly last year. Guy like Cameron Thomas from LSU is 19 years old. He had a scoring season matched ever at the type of school he was at by Michael Beasley, Kevin Durant, names of the sort that are just like, these guys. Buckets. Whatever you want to say about Michael Beasley and his NBA career,
he's a walking
and it went how it went. Like that guy will give your favorite player 30 right now. He can do it. He can't play defense at a consistent NBA level, which is why he's not in the league. It's because he doesn't care to do it. He can do it.
He's buckets. He should go to the big three.
He can give your favorite player 30 right now.
He should go to the big three. He'd kill in the big three right now.
Right? I would love to see Beasley play. Yeah.
I really would. Yo, Bees, if you watching, call Ice Cube. I promise.
He'll hook it up. He will, man. He would welcome a guy like Beasley.
Dude, sure. Bees is nice.
I think the problem.
I enjoyed Beasley.
I feel like Ice Cube has gone that direction. I feel like it's Bees not wanting to give up. Like, I don't know. Some guys are that. When some guys are that talented, like it's tough to go to the big three, man. Like,
but honestly, the big three is so dope as a unit itself. It really
I love
is.
It.
They're exciting games. They're fun. Nah, I think if he's looking at it like I don't want to do that, then he's bugging. You know.
Well,
we
know Beasley's going to the summer league this year. For Portland squad, I believe it is.
So good luck there. But once you come off that roster next year, hit the big three and be an all-star there.
Yeah, he's still trying to break back in.
I mean, because Joe Johnson is eating food, man. Rashard Lewis is eating food, man. And the way they talk about him is beautiful. It's like they're MVPs. Go be an MVP, bro.
Right.
Stop trying to just get on a roster. Go be an MVP.
Some recognition.
It's a fun league. It should. I mean, I went to their second season's finals up in the Barclays Center. Oh,
that's
man.
Awesome. That had to be an environment.
It was great. It really was. And at that point, it was still growing. And it was still, I mean, dude, it was a lot of people there, too. It was almost packed. You know what I mean? Then I got to see Ice Cube do We Be Clubbing. I was so... I was, yay.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
You can't go wrong with that.
No, actually, I don't like Ice Cube post Predator. I mean, I like Death Certificate Ice Cube and early Ice Cube. Later on, Ice Cube with the yays. But we're diverting. Let's get back.
So good. You know what? Why don't we take a break right now? We'll throw a commercial and we'll come back with some fresh takes and we'll be right rolling. Back.
Hey yo. Straight out of the bisque, bro, fam. We got the brand new cereals out this piece. Straight up for the holiday season in hip-hop, you know what I mean? We got Mackle S'mores. Yo, you ain't never had no Mackle S'mores before. We got 2 grains. What? We got some Snoop Loops. And we got some Luda Crisps. You right, you darn right. It's the most delicious cereal killing food out there. You better go get you some. Get it right now. Matter of fact, I said, get it. Go get it. Get it right now. Right now.
Dude, I love it, man. I love the new commercial. It makes me want to say, do it. Just do it.
Do it.
Do it.
No joke, you're making me hungry, though. True. Because now you got me thinking about a bowl of Honey Bunches of Oats or something with some cold milk.
See, what you need to do.
Yo, I like that you have milk with it, man, because there's so many people out there that just have dry cereal. Like, what?
Y'all need some crunch time. That's what you need, some crunch time.
Yo, we do need some crunch time.
We'll get to that one later.
No, we're not doing dry cereal on the Knicks corner.
No, man, dude, it's got to be cold milk.
Cold milk.
Nice.
And if you could cut up some bananas, go get it.
Strawberry, yeah, man. I haven't done that in a long time,
man.
But that's some good stuff.
I was on the timeline a couple weeks ago, and someone, it might have been Stacey Patton, Finna Strickland, was slandering sliced bananas on the timeline, just on cereal. And I was like, what is this for? What is it? Oh, we got to go. Hold up. I see my name. Ask Chris, what are you hearing about Kelly Oubre? What up? Listen, we are hearing about Kelly Oubre. However,
that we are.
I think as with any front office, you got people on both sides. I think, if your front office is a monolith and they all agree on every single thing, you might want to look into some different voices. Go get Coach Fogg, come in and spice up the takes in that front office. Get them talking. The Knicks, of course, you almost like to hear it. Do have some Oubre fans, but I haven't heard anything over the last 2 months. I would say over the last month, of the off season, right. At all that would indicate that there's a strong chance of him coming. His agent, Terrell Harris.
Thank you. That's what I want.
Terrell Harris is Tobias Harris's dad. Terrell Harris has a very, very strong understanding, as someone from Long Island, of how the New York media market functions, who holds power in the New York media market, who people listen to, who people go to. And listen, man, he's put on a clinic. He's put on an absolute clinic in how to not just create and start, but how to completely shape the discourse around a given player.
He created this, and he's running with it.
The fact that the debate on Knicks Twitter is, would you give Oubre $12 million or $15 million a year? People are like, oh, I'd give him $15 million. I don't think there's a single NBA front office right now that would give him $15 million a year, like by choice. Like, no way a team is like, hey, we've got $15 million. Like, that's what the Warriors did last year. Was they had $15 million, they spent it on Oubre, and he made the team worse. Like, when the ball is in his hands instead of in Stephen Curry's, no matter how good he is, it's not gonna go well. And I don't get why people think that on a team led by Julius Randle and RJ Barrett, who both are, you know, becoming shooters, that's not an excuse to go get. That's not an excuse to go get a non-shooter.
Right.
And Oubre has this rep, of course, online and exclusively online, of being a 3-and-D wing. But the tapes would tell you that the defense, you know, he has length in his arms, but the defense is not
right. It's not
particularly what you're looking for. And then the 3-point shooting, the only way that you hear anything positive about his 3-point shooting is people will tell you there was like a month or something where he shot 35%, which is proof that he's fine. Man, Julius Randle in New Orleans shot 35-ish% on about 3.5 attempts per game.
Right.
And then he came here, took twice as many 3-pointers because he got the ball a whole lot more. And it went down his first year here. You know, it took the biggest single season turnaround pretty much in NBA history.
Almost history,
for Randle to be as good as he is. And people are being like, oh, well, this coaching staff turned Randle around. Why can't they turn Oubre around? And I'm like,
it doesn't work
that's
like
not
that.
the same, man.
And it's not exactly the case either. Why do they discount the fact that Randle took it upon himself to get himself better, to get himself in shape, and then Tibbs and them had something better to work with.
Randle went to Tyler Ralph, and he said, I'm done with this. I'm embarrassed. I'm done with this. What do I do? Tyler Ralph said, you cut out alcohol. Randle said, no way I'm cutting out my wine. Tyler Ralph said, you're cutting out the wine. Julius cut out the wine. He lost like 15 pounds in a couple weeks. I gotta say, you're absolutely right. He went straight into the fire and turned himself. You know, he was like an ugly pot, and he went back to being the kiln. A ball of clay. He went back to the ball of clay.
Yep.
He said, Tibbs, this is what you have to work with. And Tibbs shaped an all-star, an all-NBA player.
Yep.
But Tibbs didn't take the pot, smash it, tape the pieces all back to Julius came ready to work. Oubre,
and I don't see that work ethic in Oubre. I don't. I'm sorry.
Here's the difference. I'll tell you the difference right now. Julius Randle, we didn't hear a peep out of him. Got a couple off-season training workouts his first summer, like the videos, all that. Remember, he was lifting the chains.
Yep.
You know those giant chains.
And they clowned him for it, and now we see the work.
And this last offseason, he put barely anything out. Chris Brickley put some videos out of him working on jump shots over quarantine. And that's it. Oubre is on talk shows. He's on all over the place telling people how he knows what it takes to be great. And that's why anywhere he goes, he thinks he can do it. And I'm like, you
haven't done it yet.
You could be getting great right now, and you're on a show to tell Knick fans why you'd be a great Knick. It's like, you're trying way too hard, man.
It's so telling, man. It's so telling. You know what I mean? To hop on
He's compensating for something.
Oh my gosh. it's like you don't need to. You know what I mean? Like it's that age old adage that you got to let your work show for itself. You know what I mean? Right. And you don't talk about it, you be about it. And it's just that's what Randall did, man. You know, that's what Randall did. And you're 100% right, Kris. I mean, you can't apply what he did to everybody else because it's so much more in terms of self accountability. And if you don't have it as that player, you're not going to be able to do what he did. You know, so
I got a question for y'all. Do you think NBA teams look at last year's draft and say, wow, the New York Knicks took a kid that everyone thought was going in the second round at 25, and he was a top 5 rookie? All right, guys, that's this year's draft strategy. Los Angeles Clippers are picking 25th this year. We're taking a skinny kid out of the second round that not anyone that hasn't watched his team has heard of to a great extent. And he's going to be as good as Emmanuel Quickley because that's how things work. No, man. Like, not a single team just sits back and says, hey, this worked for them, so we're just going to copy it exactly, and it'll work for us also.
Right, you can't.
You can't just sign Oubre and be like, no, well, see, the coaching staff turned him around, so they'll turn him around. These are people. Are people. Like, they're real human beings. These players are real human beings. And, you know, you guys have a job, you go to work. Like, this is these players' jobs, man.
Right.
And when y'all are at work, I know personally, if I'm at a job that I don't necessarily really want to be at, you know, like younger, working in retail, volunteering on the weekends, just grab a little cash. Like, I'd be sitting there doing homework for like fun. Like, I was bored, man.
Right.
You're just trying to get by. You're just trying to wake up, go to work, go to sleep. The NBA is like that for more dudes than people think. Like, the NBA is just a job for way more players than people think. And for me, like, I've put a lot more emphasis these last 2-ish years when scouting, looking for kids that, you know, either, you know, if they're Cade Cunningham level and they say, I want to be the greatest player ever, that's something. But, like, man, like a Robinson Earl, I don't know where he's even at. He might be on the second round of my big board. JRE really might be at the top of the second, late first round of my big board from Villanova. That's a guy who, like, when you watch him play, you go watch Robinson Earl play, he sets screens very well. He's always in the right spot. He defends every single play with the amount of effort that would tell you, like, he thinks he has a scout watching him. Every play he's putting on full effort, This is a kid who, like, bought into a role and just played it really, really well because that was his job. He didn't just go out, just try to grab buckets, just try to show his worth. This kid just played his role. The statistical averages are very unimpressive. Isaiah Jackson from Kentucky. I think he's top 20 on my board. That's a player who put up, I gotta say, man, like 5 points a game, like 6 rebounds a game. 6 points a game, 5 rebounds a game.
Yep,
I'm talking like
Kentucky connection too.
Like, if we pick this kid Isaiah Jackson, I'm telling y'all right now, Knicks Twitter is gonna go nuts.
Ballistics.
Because and they're not gonna be happy. It's gonna be like, we averaged 6 points a game. We picked him because he went to Kentucky. This is terrible. What? Listen, man. Y'all watched our playoff series against the Atlanta Hawks. I know we were missing Mitch. A healthy Mitch or a developed Isaiah Jackson, either one, in my opinion, could have helped us win that series, could have helped us stop Trae Young. Isaiah Jackson, to me, did not have the stats, did not have the impressive stats that someone like James Wiseman did. He, to me, has the mold of a center that can start in the NBA playoffs and make a positive impact defensively for his team. That's just not ignorable. Like, holy crap, this guy is scaring. This guy is scaring off Trae Young from going to the rim. Oh my God, why is Donovan Mitchell taking so many pull-up middies? Because he's avoiding going to the rim and challenging. Like, Isaiah Jackson averaged like 6 points a game, man. Like, this is not someone people are going to be raving over. And especially taking a center in the first round is not something I'm a huge fan of. You guys noticed earlier, I talked about my favorite outcomes. I didn't mention any big men, guards and wings.
Yep.
Guards and wings.
Well, and that's also what we need.
We want to talk big men. I got one guy for y'all. If we want to talk big men. I think he'd be on the second page, Coach Fa. If you bring in the big board back up, I think he'd be on the second page there. And there he is at 16. Real Madrid's Usman Garuba. I think he might be this draft class's best perimeter defender. And he's a center. That is worth noting.
That definitely is.
To be able to have that much of an impact on the perimeter defensively and to play center is a big deal. Now, Garuba
a lot of ground to cover.
Is a small ball center. He's a small ball center. Garuba's only about 6'8", 6'9".
Gotcha.
What intrigues me about this, what intrigues me for sure, and you'll see where I'm going in a second, because what intrigues me about this is, and y'all know I love Obi Toppin. This is no hate to Obi Toppin, right? But can you play Randall and Obi together in the playoffs for like a long time?
I don't know yet. Because Obi's not fully developed. Because he's not fully developed.
Can help protect the rim, help defend the perimeter. He can pass. He can dribble a little. He can shoot it from the corners. We think that's the projection. Is can he shoot it? The shot a little funky. I'll admit it's a little. He's got like the whole like thing going where it's like a whole slow process.
Gotcha.
You know, like that big man shot. You know, like run on the court with a backpack on. Like let me get a shot. Like that. Right. It kind of looks like that. But everything else is really impressive at the center position. You can play him with Julius Randle and go small.
Right.
You want to put in IQ and Rose, and then say we have like a Duarte on the team, and then throw, you know, like, or maybe it's Bullock, you know, IQ, Rose, and a 3-and-D guy, and then Obi and Garuba. I mean, not Randall and Garuba. That would be fun. That would be fun. So say Obi does end up in Cleveland or anywhere, you know, see how that goes. But I don't know about all this Sexton talk. We got to now Coach Fa knows that I'm in on Sexton, even though my, you know, you would think my logic with Oubre, it doesn't translate. Sexton to me is a player who was on a bad team and is actually good. Oubre had the good player on a bad team label, and then he went and played next to Steph Curry and looked worse. And I was like, all right, something's off here.
And just to circle back to Oubre, because we definitely had a comment come in that we were not.
I got you.
Yeah, we both too quick. But dude, I watched Oubre from Washington. People even forget he was even on Washington.
Yep, 100%. You're right.
They dumped him, and people were like, "Why'd they do that?"
Because he is nothing but air quotes potential.
Mm-hmm.
He has yet.
He flashes it.
He has yet to take a personal and professional step to actually chisel that. I mean, dude could possibly be, but how many years he been in the league to still be?
Yeah, he needs to be consistent. That's his thing.
Right. We gotta know who he is and what he's gonna be on the court every day.
Well, while taking that next step, right?
And as you said, Chris, him being on Golden State was the perfect opportunity to do that.
Yep, it really was.
And if it wasn't for Herculean efforts from Steph Curry, they don't even make the play-in.
No, you're right. It almost he almost didn't move the needle
at all.
Except like you said earlier, Chris, it kind of went backwards at times.
Exactly.
You know, because when the ball was in his hands, things paused.
It wasn't in steps.
He made Andrew Wiggins look good.
So let me tell y'all something that that
for real.
That to me pointed out one of the issues with Oubre. That was at the start of the season. The Warriors were like atrocious. Like they were real bad to start the year. And then Draymond came back from injury about 7-10 games in. Mm-hmm. Draymond Green came back
and turned it around.
And the offense got better.
Yep.
Now, how you guys tell me how a player who is like Ben Simmons at USA literally passed up an open layup to get someone a contested three. Like a dude who will not score, a guy who is not a threat on the ball. Mm-hmm. 4 points a game, I think. How does he improve your offense?
Because he knows spacing and where to be.
IQ.
He does all the little things that don't show up on the stat sheet.
The ball in Draymond's hands, when it's not in Steph's hands, you know, someone's making another decision. Someone's making a decision with the basketball. And Draymond, he'd make the decision of, I'm going to give this shit to Steph and get out his way.
Mm-hmm. Or find other open people. He's good with passing.
Made the decision
big on screens. He's big on moving off ball.
Tween Hezzy, split cack, step back, sideways. And you saw that as Draymond returned, despite being a non-factor on the scoring side of the ball, from a scoring perspective, the offense improved because the ball got out of the hands of poor decision makers in Wiggins and Oubre into the hands of Draymond, who was more willing to give it to Steph, more willing to pass to an open player, more willing to make the right play. And here's the other thing about Oubre in my evaluation of him that's of note is that in Phoenix, you're a bad team. You guys want to get their buckets. It's a little different. Like the Knicks were terrible. Bobby Portis wanted to go off for a 28 game. Bobby had 28 in him. Bobby can give us 28. We can get 20. It's like, oh, Fizdale was like, oh, you got it tonight. You got it tonight. There were no roles. There was no structure there.
Right.
That
you're right.
on the Suns was a little more how it was than how we're looking at things now with Thibodeau on those Phoenix Suns teams before they were any good. Oubre would score a lot of points out of the flow of the game. Loose ball dunk, and his athleticism and his good athleticism was how it happened. But how when he wasn't on the team in the bubble, they got a lot better. They went 8-0. They played a better brand of basketball, less ball stopping. At some point, I'm like, this isn't a coincidence. This guy isn't
more emphasis.
He isn't getting
defense,
screwed over. He isn't getting screwed over everywhere he goes.
Right.
He went and played next to the greatest shooter of all time, one of the greatest point guards of all time, one of the greatest floor raisers of all time. Someone who makes every other teammate on the court better in Steph Curry. And he was bad.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here? Talking $15 million a year, man.
Right.
I can't. I can't sign on for that.
I agree.
I think Oubre, my take that you might say, okay, that's a little far, but you'll get my thinking is that if he wants a minimum contract to come here and sit on the bench, he can have it, and I'm not paying him anything more. The reason for that, no, I wouldn't do a $6 million deal for Oubre. I wouldn't, and it's because we just signed Burks for $6 million. Burks could pass, dribble, and shoot. I don't think Oubre could shoot. I don't think Oubre could pass. He could dribble.
And definitely his dribbles defense a lot. Just ain't up to par also,
And Burks' defense wasn't up to par, but he brought things we needed on offense, and it was okay.
Oubre, and he still put the efforts on defense, though, too. You know what I mean? His defense wasn't top notch, but he still gave the effort every night, and he did force things. He absolutely did.
I'll take Josh Hart over Oubre at the wing.
Me too.
Me too. You want a young wing? Talk about who's a 25-year-old wing, 24-year-old wing that we can invest. Who's 8 rebounds a game? Josh Hart, Villanova,
I agree.
3-and-D, floor spacer, defender.
Great piece.
Why not?
I got one question for you too, right? Because a lot of times things come up where Knicks need shooting, right? It's obvious we need shooting. We obviously need an upgrade at the wing. So one name that pops up on draft boards and it's thrown out there a lot is Quentin Grimes. So before we wrap things up, I kind of just was curious about how you see his fit, because I know he's kind of known also for that shooting and his threes and that confidence. And it could be something that we need and might be able to insert itself, almost right away.
So what up, Jay? Grimes, I got to say from the jump, man, is, Mark Berman reported the Knicks were impressed. Mark Berman is not someone whose reports I scoff at. He, from day one, has had a relationship with Tibbs. And day one, I'm not talking 2020, I'm talking 1999. So Berman knows his stuff. He said that the Knicks like Grimes. Tibbs might be the Grimes guy, who knows? But whatever it is, start off by saying the team does have a level of interest in him. I'm not sure if it's, as strong as someone like Duarte or some, on the wing.
Right,
or something
who we've
like
been just hearing more of lately.
Grimes, though, my thoughts on Grimes, and I have to – he's going to be on my 2.0 board. Any exclusions from my first board were intentional because I hadn't watched enough tape to be comfortable ranking them, if that makes sense. So it's not like, oh, I left him out on purpose because he's not good. No. I'm not gonna lie and say I know about a guy I don't. I got like the 40
Fair.
guys on there. 40 guys on there that I 38 on the first one, and we're gonna go like 42-ish maybe for the second one. Try to just cover a little after where we pick at 32. Could see the guys on the board. The thing with Grimes, man, is he's getting kind of lost in a class that has in the second round so many like, oh, this guy would be a first rounder in a different class. I'll take a bet on him here. He's getting lost because there's a sea of those players available. However, Grimes sticks out to me. And I will say that he sticks out to me out of the bargain bin guys. So, yes, I view him as a bargain bin draft guy, second round steal, late second round if he falls, early second round, something like that. Late first, we're talking maybe a little much in draft capital for my liking.
Right.
Grimes, though, he's the kind of guy who, like, you'll watch his tape and you'll be like, oh, this is what people mean when they say a player pops off the screen. Grimes, nothing incredible in terms of like Jalen Green's, crossover pull-up jumper ability, Mobley's ability to be all over the court. It's not like that. It's not going to flash in superstar quantities. You're not going to see superstar, but his game will pop off the screen. The reason is because, and this would make sense that the Knicks are interested in him. He plays really hard, plays with a lot of effort. And I don't want to say he just always makes the right play, but I would say that he's able to make like momentum type plays in the sense that like, yeah, he'll go in, he'll get right in a guy's face and poke the ball loose and go slam it, or he'll make something happen on offense with a crossover or a certain pass choice or something. You're just like, yeah, this guy is basketballing right now. He's keeping things going. He's got a good little something going over there. That's Grimes to me. He's not, not going to pop off the screen with the superstar potential, but he'll pop off the screen with the, hey, that's an NBA thing. That's a thing that good players do in the NBA. He's doing several of them. On-ball pressure, shot making, impressive from it.
Right. I agree, and I definitely appreciate your take on it. I definitely think that he has assets that we could plug in and kind of utilize right from the get. Should we end up, I don't even know where things are going to kind of fall because it depends on what they do, where guys start going on the board. I feel like they definitely have ideas of where they want to go, and they probably have their own board of, one way here, and going through. So I feel like they're not going to really have a clear idea until the night itself, and they start seeing how guys actually are going on the board and can get a better idea of what guys then are actually going to be available, and then look at, okay, we already worked it out. This is what our idea is of this guy. You know what I mean? And so it's tough, man. Do you see – I was just about to ask you, do you see us trading any picks to move up at all, or do you see certain guys that we might have our eyes on just falling to where we will be able to take them without doing that? Do you see a clear-cut path one way or the other, or do you still see it like up in the air at the moment?
So,
because I get stuck with this every
Cunningham.
time.
You've got Cunningham, you've got Mobley, you've got Green, you've got Suggs, and these guys that are consensus at the top of the draft class. Now you start looking at mock drafts, Athletic, ESPN, CBS, all these different places. You're going to notice in the middle of the first round, starting at around pick 9 or 10, the wings start. Barnes, Wagner, Kuminga, even Bouknight, you want to consider him a combo guard / wing.
Right.
Giddey, Thor, Keon Johnson, Zion Williams, Jalen Johnson at the 4, Trey Murphy. There's a lot of wings there in that range.
A lot.
And when that run starts, I think our questions will become a lot more pointed. Like, oh, are they going for this guy or this guy? Instead of that's my answer to your question is that
it's so hard.
As the Knicks they're operating as a very smart team, right? What they're doing is finding value where it pops up, setting a price, their price. If it's met, deal. If it's not, no deal, and they're okay. It's been the Leon way of operating. Look at the Hayward situation. Look at
thank gosh.
Man, who else? Oh, Cleveland potentially trading up for Obi. We had a price out there. They wanted more. All right, we'll stay at 8. We've proven that, that's kind of how we've operated. For me, I think they have their trade up offers out there. I think Indiana probably has an offer from New York. I think Golden State at 14. We might be trying to, sneak our way up there, take Kevon Looney off their hands for salary, try to work something out. But to me, it's going to depend on who starts going and when. So
I agree. I definitely agree.
Let me pick a name. So to not like.
No, I get it. I get it, man.
Makeup. Let's go with Kispert. All right, that's a name we haven't heard a lot in connection to the Knicks. Let's say Corey Kispert out of Gonzaga, behind the scenes, is their guy. They need Corey Kispert on the Knicks. I think there's a reason I picked Kispert for this, because I think that's a little much for Corey Kispert. They see at pick 9, Wagner. Pick 10, Zaire Williams. Pick 11, Thor. Oh, this is gonna get bad. Yo, Indiana, that extra second rounder. All right, it depends on what's going on.
Yeah,
where their guy is, if he's been picked, if he's on the board,
right.
And then making the most out of the paths that they've created for themselves. So let me come up with a beach analogy here for y'all. It's summertime. New York
analogies here, man.
New York has taken their bright red shovel, and they've gone down to where the waves are coming at. They've carved out their 6 different paths that they like, because they're crazy. And Brock Aller is nuts. And for a living, he has to be crazy about salary, about contracts, about all of this stuff.
And that's why we love
them. They have all their little paths scooped out. And they're going to let the tide come and see which way the water starts going, which ones are going to get filled up, and they're going to go stand in the ditch that they built, that is, with how things fall, the best route. Right. It's a very, very not hawk. I'm not saying they're praying over the whole league and we're not that good yet. We're not that good yet.
It's just savvy move making. It's just savvy move making.
It's just smart navigation, trying to figure out what's going on.
I got you, bro.
There you go.
Danny's this way. There it is.
Yes, there it is.
Smart navigation from the Knicks. And just so I don't think right now, if you ask, Leon Rose, what are you doing in the draft? He's gonna be like, oh well. Obviously, if you're the media, he's going to say the regular answer. We have a lot of pass we're comfortable with, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
If you ask Leon Rose right now what the Knicks are going to do this draft, he's going to be like, we have to see how this plays out. No one knows who's getting,
I agree.
If there's a guy that they love, say, I'm going to make up a crazy scenario. So, again, this isn't realistic. Say they think Jalen Suggs is, the best player they've ever seen in their life. Mm-hmm. And he falls to 7, which, again, none of these things are ever going to happen. They might get really aggressive and pick up the phone and tell Golden State, listen, we need 7. We really want to pick at 7. Let's make the. But, that type of situation is just not something you sit here and realistically plan for. Right. So have they planned for all these things behind the scenes? Yes, that's their job. They have their little avenues, their paths that they want to go down, their different routes, their different combinations of options. It's about how the cookie crumbles, which players go where. Right. If they think there's a team with 2 picks, like Oklahoma has 16 and 18, right? If Oklahoma gets a big man at 6, when everyone's expecting them to get a wing, that might change who they want to take later on. They might want a wing later on, and that might be a team we then want to jump. Because if they've got 2 picks and they're going to go wing at one of them, and we know it, they're going to take our guy. We got to get, so it really depends on how things shake out in the draft to how exactly the Knicks will operate. But I definitely can tell you they're looking into a bunch of different things, and that you can trust that, at the end of the draft, New York will be sitting, and they'll be like, yeah, we planned for this and we're fine with how this went. There is not going to be agree. Scott Perry running around in circles in the war room, and Leon like, I don't know who to pick.
I feel like I see like a Simpson or like a Family Guy character with like their head on fire, like running like.
Man, they are ready for a lot. New York is this front office is ready for every outcome.
I totally agree, and I ask you that because I've been getting asked that like throughout the week. And I feel like every time that I'm asked it, it's like almost like we're put on the spot. Like, like we should know exactly what's going to happen. And we don't, because there's no clear-cut path.
No one knows exactly what's going to happen.
No, man. No. And this year specifically, I feel like there's so many options and for each team. So I feel like it's really going to come down to what actually happens that night, and that they're just going to have to be super prepared for, like Kris said with his wonderful analogy, all the different paths that we've carved in the sand. Which one's going to get filled along the way, because it's going to branch off this way and that way and this way. So I just think as long as they do the preparation, which we know that they have been and they're good at that, I think we'll be fine. I think we come out of draft night A-okay, 100%.
Will we make a deal before draft night? Maybe. And here's how what I just said connects to that. You know how I was saying how if a team picks one guy instead of another, it affects, you're all right.
Absolutely.
Now this intel starts going out to teams before the draft. You know how Woj always knows who the pick. Imagine the teams. The teams are trying to get an idea. And I'll tell you guys that it is a real thing that the GMs do. Like, if I'm a GM, I'll call up GM Danny, be like, yo, Danny, you talk to Oklahoma City, because they've got six. And I need to know who they're trying to pick. I need to know. And Danny will be like, well, they called me up, and they wanted to know if we were going to take Wagner at 9. And then I call someone else, and they're like, well, they want to know if we were going to take Barnes. They wanted to know if I'm like, no one's talking about book night. No one's talking about, oh, my God. They're trying to cover up that they're moving up for book. And now I figured out Danny wants book night. Another team's picking before him, whatever. I know they're gonna take him, and Danny wants and or Danny tells me another team's gonna take book night. That guy we're talking about doesn't get him. Now I know their whole strategy's changing. Draft hasn't even started yet, and I know who to call to make the most out of the situation. So
it's a game, man. Game of Thrones.
Things start to fall in place before the draft even starts, and that could definitely lead to some pre-draft movement from the Knicks. We see a team start to figure some stuff out, and the Knicks jump on it, say, hey, you like this guy, move back and get him. Indiana, you want to take Murphy or someone, but you want to move back. You don't want to take him at 13. We'll move up, take this, but when you're not getting a whole lot because we know you want to move down. You know how it is. Like,
Absolutely.
all these pieces will start to fall into place, and we'll see how things go.
I agree. I totally agree, man.
Any
last comments or statements that you want to put out? Any plugs that you want to do?
Stage is yours.
Watch Sharif Cooper film, because I think that kid with this coaching staff on this team,
I agree. I have been watching film.
Can grow up in the NBA to be the type of player that I'm not talking a superstar. I'm not talking an all-star from year one. The type of player you're going up against his team, you're like, man, we got to go up against Sharif creating shots for RJ and Julius.
Right.
Oh, it's going to be a long night tonight. Oh, this is going to be annoying. Like you wake up, you're like, I got that math test today. Oh, today's going to suck. Like, oh my God, we play Sharif Cooper. If you're a point guard, and I think like Sharif Cooper has the potential where, like, if you're a point guard, you wake up, you check your schedule, you're playing New York that day, you're just like, oh shit.
Well, that's good.
I'm gonna start stretching now. I'm gonna be running all night.
Let's hope.
We could use that, especially against a team like Atlanta with a guy like Trey. You know what I mean? Yeah. Stick somebody like him right on him, and he'll be, helping create on offense, and at the same time, doing his thing on defense. I think he'd be a great plug.
I think Sharif can exist on defense. I don't think he'll be a massive difference maker, but I think he can survive,
Yep.
All right.
Fair. All right.
Yeah. Other than that, man, that's about it. Oh,
great.
Check out the To a Tolerable Degree podcast, because that's my podcast, and that's about it.
Okay.
Yes, sir. You can find that right on his profile.
Last one. Stay tuned. Next week, Knicks Film School, mailbag. draft talk.
Send those questions in.
Stay tuned.
Send those questions in. I love that, man. I love sending questions into the film school and having guys like Macri and Andrew and Jeremy just kind of all just bounce these ideas back and forth, forth and back. And I'm gonna add.
Thank y'all for having me on.
Absolutely,
no doubt,
dude.
man.
Absolutely,
we definitely appreciate it, and we got to have you on again, especially like before the season starts, so we can put all of this together.
Let's do it.
Definitely. In the meantime, Monday night, I'm pretty sure me and you are going to connect and do a Twitter Spaces. As of right now, it looks that way.
Spaces. Stay tuned. Yeah, Danny B and I putting up a stage, unlike Rolling Loud, that will not collapse, for everyone to get on, talk Knicks on.
Hell yeah. And specifically the draft. So if you enjoyed this episode right here where we got into a little bit of Kris's mindset on, not only just his big board, but targets that the Knicks have, we're going to really break them down even more so on Monday night. So, Coach, if you're around, I think, sometime, I don't even know what time because we didn't really solidify that yet. Maybe 8, 9, whatever.
Yeah, we'll figure that all out.
Definitely hop in and we'll talk some draft, man.
No doubt. All right, y'all.
Thanks all for having me on again.
Yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all for tuning in, hanging out with us on this wonderful Saturday afternoon, and we will see y'all next week. Let's go Knicks.
Yeah, buddy.